Good afternoon. My name is Meg Resner, and I have the great pleasure to be the chair of the 2020 Marathon Classic Women's Summit. We are here live at the world headquarters of Owens Corning, our presenting sponsor. Owens Corning brought my husband and me here to Toledo 30 years ago, and I have presented many times from this very podium. So while we're not in our preferred location at the golf tournament, it feels very familiar and welcoming to be back. We have been committed to hold this event on the golf course at Highland Meadows and during Marathon Classic Tournament Week. As a team, we waited, we dragged our feet, we hoped. We have had an incredible steering team leading our efforts over the last 4 years. If we were together, I would ask them to stand and we would all cheer. We knew we needed to be relevant, we knew we needed to be thoughtful, and we knew our best and safest choice was to be virtual. So today, we Zoom. We have had a time like this means that we need to be together more than ever. And because we need to be there for each other more than ever, and because the kids served by the Marathon Classic Children's Charities need us now more than ever. Hence this year's theme, Women for Women. We believe that concept has a far-reaching impact, both personally and professionally. And guided by that theme, we created an impressive lineup of speakers and panelists. We would appreciate you taking a look at their bios in the program book for a sneak preview at their stories. Many of you have heard me say this before. One of the things I treasure about being in Toledo is the opportunity to do things that I never imagined possible. One of those times was the opportunity to be on the bid committee to bring the 2021 Solheim Cup to the Inverness Club in Toledo, Ohio. For those of you who may not be familiar with the Solheim Cup, it is a big deal in women's golf. It brings the top 12 US women golfers against the top 12 European golfers in a contest that will bring 150,000 fans and an economic impact for Northwest Ohio of over $35 million. You will learn more today, and I believe you will walk away excited and proud to support our LPGA players on their biggest global stage, and right here in our backyard. Another one of those things happened preparing for this summit. I got to Zoom with Carla Hall, not once, but twice. And I have no doubt you are in for a treat, no pun intended. You will be entertained, you will learn, and you will be inspired. I would like to thank Paige, Madison, and the entire Marathon Classic staff for their tireless efforts in planning this event, and certainly for their flexibility. And a big shout out to Lisa Silverman, who spearheaded our efforts to put together a gift basket that each of our registered attendees will receive. Thank you for being part of the 4th Annual Women's Summit. Thanks to our table hosts and sponsors, we are once again over 400 strong. We know these are crazy times. Please hit the pause button. This is your time to be fully present for yourself and for each other. You can read about my friend Chris Peterson, our MC, in our program. She is well known for her Emmy awarding career as the face of WTOL News, anchoring the 5, 6, and 11 p.m. newscasts for 20 years. In 2014, she retired from television news and started a leadership and communication consulting business. She is active in the community, serving on several boards. Her husband, Tom Runnels, is recently retired from a 41-year career in Major League Baseball. And their daughter, Riley, is a junior studying journalism at Ohio University. Chris has served as honorary chair for the Northwest Ohio Komen Race for the Cure for 25 years, helping to raise more than $23 million. If you follow Chris on Facebook, you will see that she is celebrating this milestone with a month of 5Ks, featuring her friends, survivors, and stories to raise awareness about this year's virtual Race for the Cure. I tuned in yesterday, and little did I know that she would feature Mary Chris Skelton, a woman who lost her fight but leaves a legacy of inspiration and who role modeled what it means to be there for each other. She was one of my very first clients, which means a lot, and she had a mantra that we can all live by, which is to stay in life. In honor of Chris, and as a symbol of our gratitude, the Women's Summit is proud to contribute $1,000 to Chris's team. Please help me in welcoming Chris Peterson. I wish I could hug you.
Meg, thank you so much. That's such an awesome donation. I appreciate that so much. I feel like the Wizard of Oz coming back from behind the curtain, right? Back there. And I am so thrilled to be here today. Thank you for that wonderful introduction for this wonderful Women's Summit. And Meg is right, ladies. This is your time today. And we have some action packed guests for you today that are going to keep you on your toes, make you laugh, make you feel relaxed and de stressed, and help you to cope with what may yet to be to come as we try to whittle through these very unusual times. I am certainly proud to be part of this event. So, Meg, thank you very much and your team for letting me be part of this here today. And I can't wait for you guys to meet all of our guests. First, I want to mention to all of you that Buckeye Broadband will actually be airing the Women's Summit on September 23rd at 8 p.m. on BCAN. So we want to thank them for that opportunity also, because more and more people will be able to share our experience here in the upcoming days. We also want to thank our sponsors of tables and our major sponsors for this wonderful Women's Summit, Women for Women. All proceeds going to the 25 Marathon LPGA Classic Charities. So our presenting sponsor, as you know, is Owens Corning. We are so thrilled to be here in this beautiful Panther Theater. And we want to thank Owens Corning for everything they've done to keep us safe, because a few of us are here together to do this live for you this afternoon. We also want to thank our broadcast sponsor, Buckeye Broadband. Our behind the scenes and technology sponsor is Key Private Bank. Our LPGA speaker sponsor, our friends at Medical Mutual. And our gift sponsor, our folks and friends at PepsiCo. And I need you guys to come back to me on camera for just a minute, because you guys should all be getting these bags. All the registered attendees will get these. If you don't have yours yet, your table captain probably just wasn't able to give it to you before today. But inside, oh yes, some Life Water, which is going to come in very handy. And that is from our friends at Pepsi. We have these amazing masks, face masks, not masks, but the spa kind of masks that you can use on your skin, which is really awesome. And that's from our friends at Leaders Cosmetics. We have soap donated by Buff City Soap, which is also a surprise. We have a bag of Carla Harissa Spice Nuts, and you're going to hear about these a little bit later. And if you have your bag, I suggest you start snacking on these immediately with your Life Water, and make sure that you are enjoying yourself with a snack here today. We also have, let's see, what else have I missed? Just one very important thing. You get a cookbook, and you get a cookbook, and you get a cookbook. Carla Hall's Soul Food Cookbook. You're going to hear her talk more about that today and how meaningful it is to her to cook this kind of food. But we wanted you to all have a copy of this today too, and I believe they are all signed, correct? So they are autographed copies for you. So we want to thank all of our friends who contributed to this gift bag. And then last but not least, our wellness sponsor. We want to thank our friends at Mercy Health for all that they have done to help us be here today and to sponsor this very important program for all of you. All right, we have, put the gift bag down, a very active agenda for you today. We're going to kick things off here. We want to let you know that we are going to be interactive with you. So throughout the day, if you have questions that you'd like to have answered from any of our panelists or our speakers, please feel free to put those in the chat box or the Q&A box. We will be monitoring both, and we'll try to get to those and have people answer them. We also have a panel from the LPGA and Solheim Cup that's going to talk a little bit about the opportunity that we're going to have next year as the beautiful Inverness Golf Course hosts the 2021 Solheim Cup competition. We're going to have a moderated panel here to talk to you about wellness and being flexible and zigging and zagging during these very turbulent times that we're going through. And then we're going to take a little break. And then we'll be back with our keynote speaker, Carla Hall. You are going to love her, and we'll do a quick Q&A with her after we're finished. And then we're going to have virtual yoga and mindfulness experience for you this afternoon. So a little something for everybody, and I hope you guys are ready for an action-packed afternoon. It's going to be great. You are going to be able to use the things that you hear here today to help with your life in the days to come. In addition to being here for our own personal growth and development, though, here today, the summit is about something much bigger, as Meg said. There are 25 local children's charities that will be benefiting from the tournament and from the Women's Summit. The tournament has raised nearly $12 million for local children's charities. So at this time, Meg Ressner will be presenting the check to Paige Ottaviano, who is part of the Marathon Classic tournament staff. Meg?
So it's amazing to me that during these times where we can't be all together, that we, despite all the changes and whatnot, that we were able to raise $112,000 for the Marathon Classic Children's Charities. And this is Paige Ottaviano, who's accepting the check on their behalf.
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the Marathon LPGA Classic, presented by Dana, I want to thank all the sponsors, table captains, and volunteers who made this virtual event possible. Thank you to our amazing steering committee and to our leader, Meg Ressner, who kept us all on track leading up to this event and dedicated many hours to making this event happen virtually. I am happy to announce that this year's Marathon LPGA Classic, presented by Dana, is going to reach our charitable goal of $600,000. The money will be distributed to 25 Northwest Ohio children's charities, and the Women's Summit played a large role in this by raising $112,000. Thank you to everyone that continues to believe in and support our Women's Summit and the Marathon LPGA Classic. This is truly an amazing community and one that continues to show up no matter what the circumstances are. Thank you again from the Marathon LPGA Classic staff, and we hope that you enjoy the event today.
Thank you, Paige. And I feel like we need another round of applause. Can we do that round of applause again? And all of you out there need to be clapping because that is incredible to have that kind of fundraising. Raise the roof, guys. That's right. Incredible. And I was privileged to be out at the Marathon Classic this year to announce the golfers, and it was not the same without all of you out there. I'm just going to say that. We did the best that we could, but the fact that we are still able to impact our community in this very significant way is so important. So we just have to thank all of you for your participation, for still showing up, as Paige said, and for your generous dollars that are helping us to be able to give back to those 25 children's charities in our community. Something else is going on in our community right now. We are less than a year away right now from an international competition like no other. The 2021 Solheim Cup is coming to Toledo's prestigious Inverness Golf Course, and if you've been to other golf tournaments, this is nothing like those. Absolutely nothing, okay? I was lucky enough to attend the Solheim Cup in Gleneagle, Scotland last year, and it was wild. Breathtaking shots, fervent fans, and American pride on the line. Yes, it's true. The Europeans just edged us out. Right up to the last hole we were watching. But we are not letting that happen on our turf in Toledo next year. You are about to hear from some ladies that are working to give us an American victory. So chant with me now, ladies, so they know we're here. USA, USA, USA. Make it louder. I can't wait for all of you to experience the Solheim. Take a look at what's coming.
Representing the United States of America, Jessica Hanna.
Just keep on feeling till the beat drops. I've been waiting too long. I've been waiting too long. I've been waiting too long. No, no, no. I've been waiting too long. I've been waiting too long. I feel it in my blood. It's fire like the fuse. Just can't get enough of this feeling that I just can't lose. Yeah. I got this feeling in you, feel it too. Can't stop the feeling, you're running through. It's like a rush and it's never gonna stop. Just keep on feeling till the beat drops. I've been waiting too long. I've been waiting too long. I've been waiting too long. No, no, no. I've been waiting too long. I've been waiting too long. Nothing else feels like this.
I've got goosebumps. I don't know about the rest of you, but I am just over here absolutely psyched up, and we're going to hear a lot more about it. Welcome, ladies. Thank you for being here on our panel today.
Thank you so much, Chris. And it is so exciting to be here with all of you today. Good afternoon, everyone. I don't know about you, but every time I see that video, I get goosebumps. So everyone, my name is Kelly Schultz. I'm the Vice President of Communications for the LPGA Tour. I'm so thrilled to be here today. I actually grew up not too far from Toledo, just up the road in Brighton, Michigan. And as a Midwest girl, I could not be more thrilled with the fact that we're bringing the biggest event in women's golf to Toledo, Ohio. I'm so fortunate today to be joined by two women who have had such a big role in the LPGA Tour's success and will also be playing a big part in the 2021 Solheim Cup. The first is someone who might be familiar to many of you in attendance, as she took part in last year's Marathon Classic Women's Summit. Roberta Bowman is the Chief Brand and Communications Officer for the LPGA. Roberta spent more than 25 years of her career at Duke Energy, retiring in 2012 as the Chief Sustainability Officer. Her passion for golf led her to a role on the LPGA Board of Directors, and thankfully for all of us, an unexpected re-entry back into the working world thanks to the very persuasive nature of LPGA Commissioner Mike Whan. She's been the woman at the helm of the LPGA's very successful Drive On campaign that tells the stories of our players as they pursue their dreams in golf, and has really helped us to elevate the platform overall for women's golf. Thank you for joining us, Roberta.
I'm so happy to be back. Thank you, Kelly.
The second woman is really someone who needs no introduction. Michelle Wie West burst onto the golf stage at the young age of 10 when she became the youngest qualifier in history for the U.S. Women's Amateur Public Links. Michelle turned professional at age 16 and has been an LPGA Tour member since 2009. Over that time, she's recorded 5 career victories, including winning a major championship at the 2014 U.S. Women's Open. She's also been a mainstay on the U.S. Solheim Cup team, competing in the event 5 times, and most recently was named an assistant captain for the 2021 team under Captain Pat Hurst. In addition to her many on-course accomplishments, Michelle is a Stanford University graduate, completing her degree while playing on the LPGA Tour. I can't even imagine. And she's also a new mom to daughter McKenna, who will turn 3 months old this week, and has spent some time over the past year bringing her many talents into the broadcast booth as well. Michelle, thanks so much. So excited to have you here.
Thank you for that amazing introduction.
Well, first off, welcome, Roberta and Michelle. It's so great to have you both here. We are all so excited about the fact that the Solheim Cup is going to be in Toledo, and we saw that amazing sizzle video. And Michelle, there was some really great moments there with you as well. I'm sure it got you all pumped up for the event because it's truly unlike anything else we have in golf. And Michelle, you've competed in 5 Solheim Cups. Tell me and explain to all the women here in attendance today about what that atmosphere and that experience is like that's unlike any other golf event.
It's truly amazing. It's inspiring to me, even after playing in 5 Solheim Cups. Each time I go back on site and it's Solheim Cup week, it's like Christmas all over again. It's like I'm experiencing it for the first time all over again. And we're just so excited to be at Toledo. The community in Toledo has been so supportive of the LPGA Tour for many, many years. I remember playing in the Marathon Classic when I was 13 or 14. So we've been going there for a very long time. And to showcase the best performances with our girls on both the American and the Europe side, it's going to be incredible.
Thanks so much, Michelle. It really is one of those things that you just almost can't describe unless you've been there. But Roberta, I know you've had the privilege of getting to be at a lot of the big stages for the LPGA and a few different Solheim Cups. So talk a little bit about, when we talk about big stages and elevating that platform, what is it about the Solheim Cup that really takes golf to another level? And why does it attract so many golf fans, but non-golf fans as well, to this event?
Yeah, I think it actually comes down to 2 things: the play and the players, as well as the sense of participation and national pride. This is a chance, and Michelle will tell you a little bit more, but playing golf on the LPGA Tour, it's a pretty solitary endeavor. And this is a rare opportunity to play on a team. And then anytime you're representing your country, it just ratchets up that excitement even more. And when you put together playing on a team, playing for your country, something magical happens to our players, and they always find what seems to be just another gear, and it elevates their play in a way that just creates memories for a lifetime. The other thing is the atmosphere. And I think Michelle will agree, but the crowds are always the 13th player on the team. There is an ability for the crowd to lift up our players, be part of the excitement, and really create an atmosphere that is unlike anything in golf. You saw it in the sizzle reel. This is also, everybody's got their outrageous red, white, and blue in their closet. This is their chance to wear it proudly, and I will tell you, you will be in great company. So it's one of those rare events where you just cannot overstate how significant and fun it is. I promise it'll be a memory of a lifetime for everybody that's there.
That's for certain, Roberta. And Michelle, you talked a little earlier about your experience in Toledo. Toledo has such a huge passion for women's golf. It's been such a wonderful home for the LPGA for so many years. Now we get to showcase Solheim there on an amazing course like Inverness. Why do you think everyone should be there? And what do you think that atmosphere is going to be like, knowing that we have so many, great fans there that already know a little bit about golf, and it'll be welcoming to those who might not know anything as well?
Yeah, I think the people in Toledo are very well versed in our tour. They've come to our tournaments, but they haven't experienced Solheim quite yet. And I think it's such a special experience, just like Roberta said. The crowd really is a 13th player. That's why there's an advantage when you get to play on home turf, because the crowds. The fact when you hear the crowds roaring and on the golf course, and you hear it on the other side of the golf course, it gives you energy, it gives you momentum, and it's like, okay, someone else did something really well on the golf course, so it keeps you going. And it's just so exciting, especially after everything we've been through this year. I'm just so excited to really feel the energy, feel the crowds, and just feel everyone come together and root us on. It's just going to be so amazing. And having it at a venue like Inverness, it's a true honor to showcase women's golf on a platform such a good golf course such as Inverness is everything. You know, I think the girls got to preview it at Drive On Championship a couple of weeks ago, and it all the players were just raving about it. Such a great golf course, so much history there. They've seen the men play there, and this would be now the second time seeing women play there, and it's just going to be such a great venue.
Can I just add, Kelly, particularly for anyone watching today that's not a golf fan not a golf fan yet, it's a format that everyone can understand as soon as they get there. It's almost like every match is 18 one-hole matches, and it's match play, and the lowest score wins, and it just makes it so much fun. And then the other thing that I would add is this is a chance to see competition at the highest level female style. And what I always love is to see these incredibly strong, powerful women out there competing with everything they have, but then also appreciating, loving, and elevating their competitors as well. And that's part of what you've seen on the LPGA. You'll see it in Solheim in large numbers as well.
Well, I know as you talk about elevating that and those amazing emotions and competing so hard, Michelle, the emotions that you have always shown, I think some of our best images that we have of Solheim Cup are the fist pumps and the thrilling celebrations for you. And Michelle, you were talking a little bit about what a year it's been. I mean, as a country, we've been going through a lot with the COVID pandemic, but it's been quite a year for you personally. And it was back actually in June of 2019 that you had a right wrist injury, had to step away from the game, but it actually then started what's been a remarkable personal journey for you. You got married to your husband, Johnny West, last August, a year ago, just celebrated your 1-year wedding anniversary. You welcomed your daughter, McKenna, in June and have really emerged as becoming a mom. Take us through what that personal journey has been like for you off the golf course and how it sort of reinvigorated your passion for the game of golf as well.
Yeah, when I stepped away from the game last year in June, like you said, at KPMG, I was really going through a lot with my wrist, and I just got to the breaking point where I could not play. I did not see a future, in playing then. Obviously that has changed now, but it was just so incredible that I got to use that time, like you said, to really go through this personal journey. It's hard. It's hard being on the road for however months that we are on the road. And it was just really nice to take a break. I've been doing it for so long. And it really gave me the opportunity to, welcome McKenna to the world. And going through everything I do with my injuries, it took a mental toll on me. I was really unforgiving to my body. I just was really hard on myself. I just felt like my body let me down always. I was just really sad about it. And then, when we were thinking about having a kid, I was like, can I really do this? I had no faith in my body. I just was like, my body's going to let me down. But going through a healthy pregnancy and a labor and, welcoming her into the world, I just have this complete newfound appreciation for my body, just forgiveness for my body, and just being like, wow, like I created a human from scratch, from like the very beginning. And when I actually think about it, it's just insane. It's nutso. And I get so excited that she's going to be walking, she's going to be able to wear her patriotic colors, and she's going to be old enough, I think, where she's going to understand what's going on, and to be with the players, to see such elevation of women's golf. It's going to be inspiring to her. And that's what I love about Solheim. Like you said, it converts non-golf fans into golf fans. They get to see true competition. They get to see emotions and raw emotions, not like performance emotions, but you'll see true raw emotions where girls will cry on the course. They'll celebrate on the course. Things will come out of us that you don't see anywhere else. And I'm so excited for my daughter to see that. And I'm so excited for, all the women out there that are maybe nervous to try out the game, intimidated by the game. I hope that they get inspired. I hope that, they really get the bug, because once you do, you're hooked. Once you get it, you're absolutely hooked for life.
You know, it's interesting, Michelle, as you talk about your journey as a mom, there actually could be quite a few moms on our US Solheim Cup team next year. We've really had this reemergence of moms on tour. Stacey Lewis has her daughter, Brittany Lincecum has hers. It's pretty amazing to watch Brittany Lang now as a mom. We have a lot of moms. And one thing I wanted to bring up to this group, because I think it's pretty amazing, and a lot of people aren't familiar with it, but we have a lot of moms on tour, and a lot of that is due to the fact that we have a great partner in Smuckers who has sponsored for more than 25 years our traveling child care center. And so it's able for our players to be able to be a mom and still pursue their dreams within golf and compete. And, you know, as you talk with your fellow players and fellow moms out there, knowing that you have this opportunity to still compete and do what you love and be a mom, what has that meant for players out on tour?
It's been amazing. You know, it's funny mentioning all the other players who have kids. All we talk about is our babies now. We don't even talk about the game. We don't talk about, you know, ourselves anymore. It's always like, oh, how's your little one doing? So it's a fun change in pace. You know, in regards to daycare, and maternity leave for that matter, you know, I just really am grateful for my sponsors that they gave me maternity leave, a very long maternity leave. And it really opened my eyes. Going through this journey has really opened my eyes to the lack of maternity leaves and the lack of daycares that I see in companies in general. I didn't know that that was a thing. I didn't know that, you know, women had to either pay for daycare or they weren't given maternity leave. So they were stuck in a situation where they had to choose between their career or their babies. And, you know, like you said, you know, thanks to the great partnership that we have, you know, I can, you know, relax and go out there, and I don't have to feel like I have to choose. But, you know, unfortunately, this is not the case for a lot of places. So hopefully this will inspire other companies to follow a foot and do the same. But yeah, I mean, daycare is essential. I mean, it's not fair that women have to choose.
It's so true. And as you talk about that and what some of your sponsors have done, Nike just came out with a maternity line. You played a big role in that as well, and sort of helping give them some feedback. You've really emerged through what you've done in social media, sharing your pregnancy journey, sharing what it's been like in becoming a mom. How have you kind of taken on that role now as an advocate for other moms?
I think before, like I said, I didn't notice a lot of things. When it's not, you know, when you aren't going through it, it's hard to relate to the moms that out there that are struggling with these things. And when you go through it, it just like, it really opens your eyes. And going through this journey of being a new mom, it's just crazy. All the things that I'm realizing, all the things that I'm going through, all the things that, you know, I'm lucky to have not gone through, and seeing other moms go through that. It's heartbreaking, but it's also, hopefully we can all band together, and it's just awareness. It's also normalizing a lot of things, you know, breastfeeding, pumping, and all that. You know, it's just going through it now. There's so many things I want to do, and I'm, you know, so grateful to have opportunities like with Nike to come out with a maternity line. I think that's amazing. And, you know, just being partnered with the LPGA Tour and everything that we do to hopefully inspire change and equality and, you know, gender equality. And hopefully we can get the ball rolling, or keep the ball rolling, as I say.
Yeah, well, you've done a great job. And I think it's really exciting. And thank you for being a part of this today. I think it's so exciting about the theme of this summit is that it's women for women. And it's about women supporting each other and what we do. And Solheim is really unique in that is that golf doesn't have a lot of team formats. It doesn't have that ability to play for another person and to kind of all join together. And the relationships that are built end up going on for years and years and years. And Michelle, I know your first Solheim Cup was in your rookie year in 2009. And a lot of people have talked about how that experience might have changed you a little bit, because you went on to win after that. You really seemed to come into your own that week. How did building those relationships change your outlook on the LPGA Tour, and how have they maintained for years on end since then?
Oh, it was definitely a defining moment in my career early on. You know, because I turned pro so early, I never got to play on a high school team. Even though I went to Stanford, I never played on the golf team there. So my only team experience was really at Curtis Cup before that. And being chosen by legend Beth Daniel and to play with all these legends that I looked up to, it was so cool. It was a completely different experience for me because instead of playing for yourself, you're playing for your team. And, that actually made me a lot more nervous. I hear that from a lot of the rookies that play for the first time. They're just like, wow, like I'm so much more nervous playing for my team, for my country than for myself because it's not just about you, it's about everyone else. And it was such a cool experience for me to go through that. I had amazing partners. I got paired up with Christy Kerr, Morgan Pressel that week, and it was really cool to see how they handled it, but also to see them after so many years of playing still be nervous as much as I was being nervous. So it was really cool to come together. And once you're on a Solheim team together, you're kind of like banded for life. You kind of have these like war stories, battle wounds, battle scars and all that. So it's really fun to talk about, but it was for sure a defining moment in my career, not just because I learned how to play under that much pressure, but I learned really how to be a team player and how to interact with the other players on tour.
Roberta, Michelle was talking about all of that support within, the teams. We also see it, I think, of this event to see what it means to have women supporting this event and helping to elevate it. In golf, we often hear a lot about male fans, but female fans are just as important. Why do you think it's so important for women to support the biggest stages in women's sports like we have at the Solheim Cup?
Yeah, I love that question. And I will say that even if you've never been on a golf course, and even if you don't know the difference between a driver and a putter, we're all on the same team here. As women, we are all on the same team. And this is a chance, I think, for Solheim Cup Toledo at Inverness to show the world the type of support and recognition that these best female golfers in the world deserve. Statistic that I shared last year that women's athletics sadly only gets 4% of sports media coverage. Just recently, an example 3 weeks ago, and pardon me, but I have to just talk about this. The AIG Women's Open delivered one of the best storylines in sports, not just in golf, storylines in sports when Sophia Popov became a very unlikely winner. It was really the story for the ages. And as a shameless plug, I will have to say we have a brand new drive-on story about Sophia. So take a look at that later. But the next morning, on the only TV network that is entirely focused on golf, it took them 19 minutes in their news to talk about that. So we've made great progress, but we still have a long way to go. So I will tell you, we love all of our volunteers. We love all of our fans. But this idea of women for women, women standing up and honoring the excellence that it takes to achieve this level to play for the Solheim Cup. It's a really interesting idea and I love it. And I cannot wait to see this build up of women for women between now and next Labor Day.
Thanks so much, Roberta. I'm going to we had a few questions come in from members in the audience. And Michelle, we've been talking about a lot of these prevalent conversations that happen in women's sports. Roberta brought up the idea of, how we have to fight for sports coverage. How does it feel as a female athlete knowing that women have to deal with a lot more of these issues than the male athletes do? And I think one of the things I've seen recently is a lot of male athletes being very supportive of female athletes and having that voice. How much has that impacted, do you think, yourself and other female athletes to see that type of support? And how much have you seen that tide changing of women being able to get more of that stage and platform that they deserve?
It's definitely a battle. And I think that having the men speak out and support, having allies is really important. Women supporting women is the most amazing thing. It's very, very important and it's, truly special. But we do need allies. We do need outside support as well too. And these are issues that male athletes do not have to face and do not have to go through. But I'm hoping that the more we can support each other, the more allies we have, these issues will go away and they'll be equal. But as going through what I went through, going through labor, going through birth, and now facing daycare and all that, it is a very intricate thing. It's a very it's not just simple as ABC, with navigating the space between being a career woman and having a child, or just being a woman in general in the workspace with men. I think that the more support that we can give each other, I think that would just be so amazing. And also just having allies as well, because it can't just be us. We have to have allies.
It is so true. And it has been so great to see some of those ally voices starting to really emerge and celebrate women athletes for the spectacular athletes that they are. It's not female athletes, it's athletes. So we're so excited and love watching how you've helped to elevate the stage just by your performance. And now what you're doing all outside, Michelle, is really impactful. And Roberta, one of the questions we got for you is some of the changes you've been helping to make at the LPGA when we look at from a marketing and branding standpoint. Drive On's been a big factor in that. Can you talk about some of the things we've been doing to try to change some of the conversations as well from your perspective?
Yeah, I think while we are obviously rooted in golf, we see events like today's where we're involving business women as a way to bridge and bring in more potential fans to the LPGA. So we're finding that companies like Owens Corning, like Marathon, like the list of companies that are sponsoring this event, are doing it not just because it's good community relations and good sports marketing, but because the LPGA is aligned with their value system, and that we become a really visible, credible example of a company's commitment to diversity and inclusion. So I would say, actually, we are seeing as many, if not more, companies interested in the LPGA because of what we represent from a diversity standpoint, as we are seeing because of the love of golf and what it does. So it's we're very excited about the future. We have this pandemic to get beyond, and the ability for more people to come out and experience the LPGA. But we are seeing more and more women, more and more young girls taking up the sport. So we are very excited to be part of the movement to change the face of golf.
Well, thanks so much, Roberta. It's exciting to see all of these. And Michelle, you've been such a huge part in helping to elevate women's golf and getting it in really common conversation. So we appreciate everything. And one thing I have to ask of you, Michelle, before we go and we start transitioning, is making sure, can you help teach some of the players some of those really good reactions that you had? Because they're so good. We want to make sure we have plenty of them at Inverness next year.
I mean, I have to say, everyone makes fun of me for it because they're like, you look really spastic, like, like control yourself. But that's what I love about Solheim. It's a raw emotion, and I know I've talked about that, and I've talked about the crying and the ups and downs, and there's definitely a perception that showing tears publicly is a sign of weakness. But I really believe that it just shows that you're human. It shows that we go through ups and downs. And I think the more we're okay with that, I think it shows that we're strong. I think as a team, you're going to see so many great moments, but you're also going to see bad shots, and you're also going to see, players fall apart a little bit. But the most important thing about that is that you're going to see them pick themselves up. And I think that's the most amazing part about Solheim, is the roller coaster of emotions. And I think the crowds can really feel that. And I'm so excited for everyone to come to Toledo and to witness that for themselves in person. I think after this year, we need all of that. I think we've all been through a lot of raw emotions this year. just because everything has been so tough. So hopefully next year, everyone can come out, get inspired, have some fun, and definitely bring out your craziest red, white, and blue gear. We love to see it.
Well, we are so excited to have Solheim Cup in Toledo next year. Thank you so much, Roberta and Michelle, for joining me here today, talking about all of the excitement. Love this theme of Women for Women. It's all about supporting each other. And to kind of finish things off today, at the LPGA, we really talk about supporting women, supporting each other, but also that next generation of women. And it was such a focal point for our Drive On campaign that we made our first spot, really talking to girls about pursuing their dreams and not giving up. And as Michelle said, having those, showing girls that it's okay to have all the emotions and whatever comes their way, that they can do it. So just want to give a chance to show you guys all that first Drive On spot. This is for every girl.
This is for every girl who's ever been laughed at or told she doesn't belong.
This is for every girl who's been told she's too loud, too quiet, too this or too that.
This is for every girl who thinks her body isn't good enough.
This is for every girl who feels she doesn't fit in.
This is for every girl who's been told that success and kindness are two different things.
This is for every girl who's been told to give up.
This is us crushing it for you, so you can crush it for the next girl.
Drive On. I get goosebumps when I watch those spots, and we want to thank Kelly, Roberta, and Michelle for being with us and getting us psyched up. I promise you, I am not a golfer, and I have never been more excited about anything as I was by being at the Solheim Cup last year. So please come out, support this golf tournament, and watch these women play. They are incredible. And as you heard there, we're going to be supporting them by coming out and seeing them. When I was listening to Michelle talk about being a mom and all of the different things that our LPGA players have to go through, I was reminded that somebody told me a while ago, Fred Astaire was getting all the kudos about the dancing, and somebody reminded them that Ginger Rogers was doing everything that Fred Astaire was doing, except she was doing it backward and in heels. So this is where we are, ladies, right? We are doing it all, and these ladies are showing us how. And so for us to be out there supporting them is very, very important, and I promise you will not be sorry. Change happens all the time, whether it's the loss of a loved one, the loss of a job, a move across country, an extended illness, or a global pandemic, right? We have been living this for the past few months. How do we zig and zag and be flexible to meet the demands of change and still take care of ourselves during all of this? Well, we have an incredible panel here to talk about that with you today. First off, our first guest is Tricia Cullop, entering her 13th year at the helm of the Toledo women's basketball program. Head coach Tricia Cullop is the winningest coach in school history. During her tenure, the Rockets have been a force in the Mid-American Conference, leading Toledo to 1 MAC championship, 2 MAC regular season titles, 4 MAC West Division crowns, and 2 championship game appearances. She also led the team to a postseason WNIT championship, which was thrilling in 2011. Tricia is serving as president of the Women's Basketball Coaches Association, which is the WBCA, for the 2019-20 and 2020-21 seasons. And she's with us today. Tricia, thanks for being here. Also, G. Morton is here. G sees yoga as a way of life, a practice embodied both on and off the mat, serving as a pathway to empowerment, transformation, and freedom. G believes the gift of yoga should be available for everyone and passionately strives to increase access, opportunity, and inclusivity in classes, studios, trainings, and international yoga standards. She completed her 200-hour teacher training in power yoga through Toledo Yoga. She's working on her 300-hour training, and she has additional certifications in Yogalite and Yin Yoga, and currently serves as a teacher mentor with the Africa Yoga Project. She's grateful for the opportunity to inspire, she says, while being inspired by a powerful community sharing in the practice of yoga. We're proud to have you here, G. Thank you for being here. Finally, on this panel, Julianne Domigan. She is a certified recreational therapist since 2011 after graduating from the University of Toledo. She is currently working in adult behavioral health at Mercy St. Charles Behavioral Health Institute, an acute inpatient psychiatric hospital. She has a passion for mental health and has been focused on how the whole body works together to maintain overall health. So you can see we have three amazing panelists here. Again, if you have questions for these ladies, feel free to put them in the chat or the Q&A boxes on the Zoom. We'll try to get to them, but I have a bunch that I'm just going to ask right off the top of all of them. You know, ladies, when the pandemic hit, businesses shut down, schools shut down, teams were shut down, Trisha. So Julianne is going to have a little bit of a different experience with this, being in the healthcare industry. But Trisha, I want to start with you on, you normally are in a team setting with, 20 young women, 15 young women. And this really had to take a toll on not only your teamwork with these ladies over the summer, but also your recruiting opportunities. So how did you deal with that and be flexible and find another way to do that?
Well, I think for the first part of it was dealing with the disappointment of having to end something before it was due. We were in the semifinals of our conference tournament, and we had to deal with that as a loss per se, because we had seniors that were counting on this to finish out their seasons. And so the first thing was making sure they were okay as they head home. But next was, our bus came home and we dispersed, but trying to connect in some way, shape, or form, because all of our kids went home. They weren't staying to stay in class. They went home. So we had to find a way to connect. I actually was not present with them from March until around August 16th this year. That's the longest period of time as a coach I've ever been away from our team. So they had to train in a way they've never trained before, without weights, without equipment. We had to be very creative in our workouts that we sent them that they could do in their living room, with, cans or whatever they could find for weights, body weight. But I think the most important thing that we did was weekly meetings online to make sure that we were checking in mentally, that we were okay, that we, even though we didn't know what was ahead of us, that we could still be hopeful, and that we could still share some positivity, that something was going to happen that was good in the future, and we just had to keep building for it.
Gee, obviously gyms and businesses were shut down as well, and I am assuming that meant your yoga practice was shut down for a time, at least in person. How did you get around that? I mean, if there was ever a time where we need that mindfulness and that yoga practice, it's during a pandemic, right? How did you get around it?
Oh yeah, it was crazy, right? Yeah, I think creative was the word that we really had to embrace, and find ways to keep the community strong and connected and still have the adaptability to pivot, like at a dime's notice, right? We really got familiar with Zoom, with online meetings, online classes, and just really, we took the time to listen to what our community needed. Because you're right, there's stress more than ever right now. So we stepped back, we were patient, and we heard the needs of our community and just gave them what they needed step by step, day by day. It looks different every day, every week, and we're just continuing to adapt to what's needed.
I've heard some people saying it's kind of like flying the plane while you're building it, right? Like building the plane while you're flying it. So kind of how we've all been operating. Julianne, for you, being in the healthcare industry, you didn't exactly shut down, but things started ramping up. So you kind of were in the opposite situation. So tell us a little bit about your experience.
Absolutely. I remember when everything started shutting down and I was still going to work, and I remember the fear that I felt specifically right as it all started happening, because other people were fearful of their income and fearful of what they were going to be doing for their children, and I was fearful of going to work. I work in a hospital with an emergency room. I specifically work in psychiatric care, and people who are mentally ill don't not get sick as well. And so we were faced with a huge challenge of handling both the COVID idea and the admissions of people with mental health, and that's very difficult because communication is so key. And when you can't communicate how you're feeling, you don't always say, you know, I have a sore throat when you can barely make words. And so we had to create such a new system. I mean, my entire world got turned upside down. And like you said, every single day, every single hour, every single minute was something new that we had to figure out, something different. So I think that was the biggest challenge. But it's amazing because even a huge corporation like Mercy, we figure it out. And it's been kind of an uplifting experience, I would say, for me, generally because of that. Seeing as a company in the Behavioral Health Institute, I work with, on average, 90 people a day. And that's a lot of ears to figure out what we're doing on a fly moment. And we just did a great job, in my opinion. So I'm a very positive person, though. You could tell.
We need positivity.
Yeah.
We're all about positivity today, especially.
Mm-hmm.
Julianne, just kind of expand on the idea of those coping mechanisms for the rest of us. So it's a difficult time. We don't always know everything that's coming at us. It's hard to keep track of what we're supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
What can we do to keep ourselves from getting totally stressed out?
Listen to your body first and foremost. I think sometimes we are so fearful of something like COVID. It's a pandemic. You're terrified, and fear is such a strong emotion in all things we do. And so you get a sore throat and you don't want to admit, oh no, I think I could be symptomatic of something. And so we immediately, I think, start kind of going through that denial process. And so listening to your body first and foremost, and being able to know when's it time to stop and take a real temperature check in a not so literal term of how you're doing mentally, because stress also affects our body so greatly. So, and that's something I saw in my job, in my workplace. Not only did I see an influx of patients who were really dealing with the stress of being isolated and being terrified, are my coworkers. We all were, I hate to use the term, but dropping like flies. We just were struggling through all of it. And so being able to check yourself every single day and use the things that you love to do to make yourself feel better. And so things, for example, I'm a huge fan of yoga. I do that from home. I'm an avid gym goer. I did my gym at home until they opened it back up. Indulging in certain things is fine when you're feeling a certain type of way. So I think that's really important. One thing I do in
Are you
my
talking
job,
ice cream?
I am, specifically ice cream.
Asking
is
for a
what I'm
friend,
speaking of.
Julianne.
Ice cream or Netflix, or taking the time to just cuddle. Or I have 2 babies, and so really it was an opportunity for me to really bond and take a different perspective. I'm a full-time working mom, so being able to sit down with my kids and give them more of my attention and not feel guilty about it, because I have 1,000 things going on at all times. So that's one thing. But at work, something I teach is just mindfulness and grounding and living in the moment and not letting fear take over.
And yoga's kind of all about that, G. So did you have people calling you saying, I need a class, I need a class? Were you hearing this stress level from the people that you work with and
Oh,
do class with?
completely. Yeah, 2020 has just been a ginormous disturbance in the norm. Yeah. And people were craving connection, craving movement, and craving some way to feel normal in all the craziness. And we continued with classes virtually. We took to community walks and community events to keep everything together. And I think like what I'm hearing so far this morning is just people being okay, women being okay, just as they are, like through the ebbs and flows of this pandemic, like accepting things as they come and just relaxing with the emotions, being authentic to who we are and what's possible for ourselves. And while there is a lot of despair and isolation, there's also the opportunity to see the positive and to see the possibility that's available from the disturbance. So I've seen a lot of our students really take it on and create something new for themselves, whether it's a new identity, a new career, or just a new way of seeing themselves that really helps them step into their power and live a life that's more full of peace rather than the stress and stress.
I think that is one thing, right, that we have kind of discovered is we've just rediscovered our homes. We've rediscovered,
park spaces, for instance, and those types of spaces outside. So there have been some positives. Trisha, what are some of the positives that you've seen come out of this as a coach for your team and just as a woman?
Well, I think, one of the things was taking advantage of technology. I think for my staff and for our coaching staff, it was connecting with colleagues that finally had time to share ideas so that we were better prepared for the season. Colleagues from California, the only thing we had to figure out was the time zone. So connecting and sharing at a much higher level since we didn't have a convention that we normally would do. So that was one thing. For our players, I think it was learning how to take advantage of the technology, being on Zoom quite frequently, or even using FaceTime. Our kids use FaceTime quite frequently. I usually would just call them, but then I even needed to see the face. And so I think utilizing any kind of technology where we could have some kind of a personal connection beyond a phone call was very, very important for our staff and for our team so that we could continue to develop our personal relationships, because that doesn't stop just because there's a pandemic.
Yeah. And that, which is important. Trisha and I both had Zoom birthday parties, by the way, this year, which was super fun.
25th birthday parties.
Yes, 25. But talk about teamwork is so important. You have a lot of new young ladies coming onto your team this year. So talk about how do you get them to get to know each other and have those experiences together without them being together for so long?
Well, one of the great things about Zoom is that you can do breakout. And so we actually did a lot of team building. When we jumped on our Zoom, we would break the kids up into small groups and ask things about what was your biggest triumph? What was your toughest thing you've ever been through in your life? We also went through a whole electing captains on Zoom, where the kids had to be interviewed by the rest of the team, which was really interesting. I learned a lot about them. But we had to be as creative as we possibly could be so that we could get to know, we couldn't work out together. However, the kids did find a way to work out on Zoom. They would get on Zoom at the same time and point the camera toward each other and hold each other accountable, which I thought was pretty creative. But I think the most important thing is that we connected, and we connected frequently so that no one kind of fell off. We didn't want anyone to be going through something and we didn't know about it.
Are there things, Julianne, that make us especially equipped as women to be able to handle this? I feel like we are multitaskers on many levels. Are we equipped for this?
100% equipped. I think I love this idea of drive on, and specifically the idea that women are emotional beings, so are men, but women especially, I think, and sometimes we're pushed to hide that, and that's changing. I really truthfully feel that that's very much so changing. We're inspiring each other to be our authentic, true selves. A tear here, an angry, rageful scream there is, I think, more acceptable. At least I think it is, and I'm going to go for it. And I think emotionally, sometimes we may struggle a little bit more outwardly, and it may look like we're not equipped, but it's the exact opposite. Those emotions are what's pushing us through it. Those emotions are what is the process of healing. And so, absolutely, there's no question. I do think one really important thing is having your social support. And that's been a challenge, I think, for a lot of people. I was talking with Meg. There's a bit of a learning curve, I think, for a good portion of people on all of the technology.
Yeah.
Zoom is a pretty simple operation, and except for if you're my 7-year-old mom who's never been on a smartphone, and she's isolated because she has immunocompromised issues. And so I found that was a thing at home, at work, getting my patients to their counseling appointments. They, don't even have a phone or a home, so it's very difficult. So those challenges along the way, I think, hinder us. But again, not to be negative, it's a challenge that I willingly accepted, and I think helping people through that has been kind of a goal of mine in my whole life, really, because I'm such a spearhead, let's get together kind of person, And I struggled through every single app you could find to try and make sure I was getting together and getting my interaction that I needed. But that's just me. And I think some people are okay being a little bit more, pick and choose what they do. And even those people were like chomping at the bit, get in on it. So it's about using your resources. And sometimes that's daunting. So support.
And I think just looking for ways, right? Reaching out to people. Sometimes we don't take advantage of all of the resources that we have in front of us to reach out and just say, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Would you like to take a walk today or something like that? So don't be afraid to reach out. I know we don't ask for help a lot, ladies, but especially with our other lady friends, you might be helping them just as much as you're helping yourself to reach out and ask for that help or ask for that walk. We have some questions from our panel, so from our audience, so I want to get some of these in. Jane Marie is asking G. She says, you do an awesome job in the studio calming us down from the noise of the world. Can you share some tips on how to calm the noise on the
Yeah. You talked about resources like of our outward support system, and I'm a big proponent for our own inner resources. So being busy and being on the fly and being just in between here, and I'm the mom and I'm the coach and I'm the parent, there's always the opportunity to breathe. Yeah. Take a couple minutes in the bathroom or before you walk into your appointment or into work to just use your breath to ground and present you in the moment, to send signals to your parasympathetic nervous system that, hey, it's all good, we're okay. And there's just tremendous power in giving yourself that pause through breath. And it's always available to us.
Yeah. And we forget, right?
Yeah.
Because we're like these gerbils on the hamster wheel, going like this, back and forth. And we don't think about, okay, I can stop for a sec and breathe, let my brain reset to get myself a little bit of calm, which is really important for all of us. Coach, how can we support the team this fall? We're so proud of our Rockets. So far, you guys are planning to have your season?
Yeah, we just found out yesterday that our season is intended to open up November 25th. And that means that we're supposed to be heading to Florida for the first. It was a tournament that was originally supposed to be in Cancun that got moved to Florida, and we need to get more details on who we're playing. But I think we're hoping for some type of opportunity to have a percentage of the fan base in the stands. Obviously, we'd love for people to go ahead and buy season tickets and get ready for it, because one thing we're so proud of is our fan base at Toledo, and that's something that we've been top 30 in the country in attendance for 8 out of the last 9 years. Obviously, this is a challenging year, but we'd still love to see as many people, and there will be online versions to watch as well, and we want people to join us in any way that they can.
No big secret that I'm a huge Rocket fan. I'm at every game, love these ladies, watch them play. They are so tough, and it's just so fun to be there at the game. And I think whatever way we can support is really important for us to just have some normalcy, right? If we can. So whether you're watching at home or coming to the stadium, either way, it'll be great. Julianne, we are all getting very tired of connecting virtually. I think there really is something called Zoom fatigue, right? Can you share why it's so important to stay the course and not get fed up with the Zoom meetings and the Zoom connection?
I do think that, especially now, and I speak, my daughter is 4, she's entering school, and I have this tremendous group of friends who have school-age children who are doing lots of extra Zoom now with their kids in school, and they're exhausted from it. So my, regular coffee date with a friend on Zoom is like, I can't. I've done it all day long. I can't do a single one. So I would say 2 things. 1, get outside, because even though it's getting cold, you can get out. And I encourage. I'm a physical being personally, and I think most of us in this room probably can, talk about how important that aspect of mental health is, being physical. So get outside and try and explore a little. You'll make your way back to the computer, and eventually you'll know it's needed to get that social interaction back there. But to really explore the other options, for example, this beautiful room is something I didn't expect when I walked in. I was like, wow, it's amazing, this setup they have. And there are things other than Zoom to do. So for example, and this is a kind of a silly example, but there's a game called Sight that you can download. You get on and you play interactively with people over Zoom. So like, and not just getting on and chatting because it's kind of uncomfortable. You ever been on a FaceTime with someone and no one's saying anything?
Yeah.
It's really uncomfortable. So engaging in something that's going to drive the conversation, and then you'll find that it's very natural. And that's something that I added in very early on, and those kinds of little nuances, and a game or a daily affirmation that you share with your friends. It has to be 30 seconds. That's all you really need sometimes, and that can still connect you. Excuse me. So I think that's a piece of it, probably.
Trish and I played bingo on Zoom, so
Bingo.
that was super
Exactly.
fun.
I
and
lost.
Trish lost. Okay. I'd like to, we're getting kind of to the end of our time, so I would like to wrap up, and I'll start with Julianne, and we'll work our way down with each of you. But if you could, and this is for from one of our audience members as well, is there a time or experience where the concept of women for women made a difference to you in your life? And how did that come about?
In my workplace, 100%. I work with so many women all day. In general, hospitals are a nursing-based facility, and so many of our nurses are female. I have male coworkers, but I work specifically with 9 other full-time recreational therapists. And so in a facility like mine, we don't always have the ability to have our own space. We're working, we're hands-on with people all the time. And so being able to kind of process through this fear that we had related to COVID and process all of our daily experiences together at work. That's just, the women I have at work are my people, my therapy, and I'm in mental health, and I know how important that is. My support, my love. It's just, they're everything for me. So I think those women in my workplace, in addition to my mom, who's great, are like my rock. So that's been great because we've been going through the process, together.
How about you, G?
Yeah, I would definitely say this pandemic. If it wasn't for the women in my life, I'm not really sure how I would have made it. From my powerful group of coworkers to the powerful, predominantly woman studio that I teach at, to just even looking to the news and the media and seeing all the inspiration through women coming together to support social justice and to support change and education. It's just been really, truly inspiring and motivating for me to make sure that, I'm there with them, like for them, being the best version of myself that I can.
Trisha, we heard Michelle talk a little bit about, and Roberta as well, about how tough it is for women to kind of still get that equality with men when it comes to, sports and stuff like that. You have had a lot of women in your sports career that have really helped push you and elevate you in very big ways.
Yeah, I would start, with my college coach. She's in the Hall of Fame, Lynn Dunn. I think about, she started out in the Title IX, before Title IX came through. And, she used to drive vans to get the kids to the games that she was coaching. She didn't have a scholarship. And then you fast forward to she's coaching a team full of scholarship athletes. To now she's giving back. And I watch her and I want to do that. And that's why I think, when I was asked to be president of my coaches association, it was a no-brainer. It was like, if she's going to do all that at age in her 70s, then why can't I do this now and try to pay it forward and hope that down the road that my student athletes can have the same opportunities and even more than what I had growing up and better experiences. Because let's face it, we're not to equality yet. What are we, 70 cents on the dollar to what our paychecks are? We're not quite there yet, but I hope someday, I hope I can look back and see the student athletes that I have now, maybe making that fair amount.
Well, and I think we're just really lucky to be in a community where we do elevate women and we do celebrate women, whether you can look at the attendance of our LPGA tournament every year, the record attendance every year at the Rocket women basketball games. I just think that we have a community here that really elevates ladies in a very special way. So women for women, remember that. And remember, please reach out to people, because just because you think they have it all together on the outside, or it looks like they might have it all together on the outside, sometimes people just need a hug. That is the thing that I miss the most during this pandemic. I just miss hugs and just that closeness with people. So reach out, do what you can, understand that we are all going through struggles, and be the bright spot for somebody if you can be, and then ask somebody to be your bright spot if you need that in a day. We're all here to support each other. Thank you so much to our panelists. I also want to thank Owens Corning. As you can see, they did a wonderful job of making sure that we were socially distanced, plexiglass between, so that you could hear us without masks, and we were all keeping safe. So thank you very much to Owens Corning for that. It's time for us to take a break. We are going to come back with our keynote speaker. Welcome back. I hope you are all feeling comfortable. Have a snack and a drink in front of you, because food is what our next segment is all about. Well, not all about, but part of it at least. We are so thrilled to be here at this Women's Summit today and provide you with such amazing guests, panelists. How do you think things are going so far? Oh, where's my applause out there? Yeah, I can hear you. It's like 400 of you. That's pretty good. We are really excited to be here, and we want to thank you for joining us and being part of this today. We also want to thank Owens Corning one more time for being such a great host for us here today and a great sponsor for the Women's Summit, and for allowing us to have this awesome woman come into our lives today, our keynote speaker. Won over audiences when she competed on Top Chef and Top Chef All-Stars. Her philosophy? Always cook with love. She believes food connects us all and communicates this through her work, her cooking, and her daily interaction with others. She got a business degree from Howard University and worked as an accountant until she became a runway model, and then became a trained chef, cookbook author, and TV personality. Bit of an underachiever, this woman. She was born in Nashville, Tennessee, and grew up surrounded by soul food. Her latest cookbook reflects this experience. This is the cookbook all of you have in your goodie bags that you are going to be able to try out. Her latest cookbook reflects her soul food experience, her soul food every day and celebration. She also spent 7 years co-hosting the Emmy Award-winning show, The Chew, and is a culinary contributor on Good Morning America. Carla Hall has a huge heart and is active with a number of charities that reflect her passion for the well-being of children, including Helen Keller International, Pajama Program, Gen Youth, and 4-H. Take a look at some of the highlights of Carla's career.
Please welcome to our show, our friend Carla Hall.
I'm so happy to be here. I'm so honored.
Hey, you guys, what's up? I'm better than your average player, and that's a salt from Himalaya.
That's amazing.
Yes, you're gonna enjoy it. Come on in.
I need a minute.
Hello, everybody. We thank you. I'm gonna show you how to use squash. We're gonna do a dessert all with squash. That's what I'm talking about. You're doing such a great job.
Thank you.
Embrace more.
I like a good bite, as you can see.
I am beyond excited to be here. I've been looking forward to this for months.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Wendy Williams Show. I'm chef and TV host Carla Hall.
Yes! You all know how much fun I've had in past performances, but tonight is truly special.
And the winner is Bobby Flay. Welcome to the Daily Talk. We are so excited and ecstatic to have the two of you.
Thank you.
So welcome.
It's really great to see you. This is such a cool kitchen. It's so great to be here.
Dude!
Yes, yes, he
You
will.
have to want to be Michelle. Sorry, Michelle, girl.
That's okay.
Do you have any new additions to your family?
I have triplets.
What?
I have triplet baby goats.
Hi, doll. You want to come inside, doll? I got a great lighting setup. Let's check in with my friend Carla. You like have a look you give to Clinton Kelly and the rest of them when it's not good.
I'm like this. I'm like,
That's the look.
it's some pursed lips with a side of side eye. It was
Would you like to do more acting?
Oh, yes, I would.
I know, we talked
where's
about
the
that
camera?
the other day. Yeah.
Maybe I'm crazy, but is that?
Hey, it's New Orleans, baby. Anything's possible.
You know, I guess that chapter in your book is right. The couple who cooks together stays together.
She won some Academy Awards shit with this performance.
Why don't we invite someone from our audience to come up and have a taste?
Oh, I'll do it.
Oh, you in the red.
Did someone say grilled cheese sandwiches and tomato soup?
It's Madam President.
Is there any way to prevent this catastrophe?
I don't know, Tom, but as they used to say on my favorite TV show, let's find out.
A real meal fills your belly with delight. Yes, it's real, so real.
How about this? Release. Dare to be you, dare to be different. Every time I do something, I love it. I am so happy and so blessed to do whatever it is. And all I know is wherever I land, I'm going to be happy. A lot of people ask me, where do I get my inspiration from? It may surprise you that sometimes it could be a cab driver and they're from a different country. Instead of saying, how are you doing? I will ask, what's your favorite dish from home?
I think some of the power in actually cooking is to give you the power to create things yourself.
I love you. I love you more. I am on the Broadway stage of Lion King. She's gonna be a star. Look at this beauty. Thank you. It was so much fun. Oh my gosh, okay.
She puts the kitsch in kitchen and the sweet in sweet potato pie. Please welcome the queen of culinary, Carla Hall.
Oh my gosh, I am so happy to be here. I don't know whether to make a face or to start dancing right now. I make a lot of faces. Anyway, thank you so much for having me, Chris. It's so great to see you. Here's a real moment that I had today. When I was getting dressed, I looked in the mirror and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have on so much pink. And I chuckled to myself. I mean, I have on pink glasses, I have some pink earrings, I have on a pink shirt, I've got a pink watch. And I remembered when I refused to wear pink because I thought it was a girly color. And I was kind of a tomboy growing up. My mother would look for me and I'd be in a tree or something. And it wasn't until recently that I told myself, I'm going to own pink. I'm going to sport pink. I'm going to succeed in pink. Hence the pink top that I have on for Carla Hull Soul Food that is in you all's packages. But anyway, I just thought that I would share that with you all because I was like, wait, what, am I really wearing all of this pink? Anyway, back to you all. So I decided to title my talk Oxygen, Recess, and Dancing Without High Heels, because these are all of the things that I'm going to talk about, all of the things that I feel like we as women can do. So let's just take a deep breath wherever you are. Just let it out. I had to do that for myself. I love that we are spending time together before virtual yoga. You all may not know this, but my husband is a yoga instructor. He left the government and he went on to do yoga. So I feel like that's a part of my hallelujah, which is why I've been doing a lot of breathing and yoga during this time. But this is our time to raise the energy level up as we talk about how, as women, we can raise each other up. And maybe even more importantly, during a year that has been so marked by isolation and uncertainty, we need to raise ourselves up. I mean, can I get an amen for raising ourselves up? Okay. There have been so many times during the past 6 months when I have looked in the mirror and seen the person looking back at me who needed to be raised up, myself. Okay. I think that as women, we forget that the most important person in your life has to be you. Like so many people, our partners, our parents, our children, our colleagues depend on women to be strong in the face of adversity because it's what we do, right? I know I can't see you all right now, but I feel like you are shaking your heads. It's just what we do. But you can't possibly take care of others if you don't take care of yourself first. I mean, we just can't do it, but yet we still become that caretaker, right? So, and I know you all know this classic example when you are in a plane, and how many times have we told ourselves this, and we have used this example? The oxygen masks come down, and the first thing that you're supposed to do is put the mask on yourself so that you can have enough oxygen to help others, right? Now, that is the time that we are in right now. The oxygen masks have dropped. Child, they have dropped and they keep dropping, right? And we need to grab them and put them on, okay? Now, you may be working from home and homeschooling your kids at the same time, right? Maybe you're a frontline worker out there every day providing the important services that keep the rest of the country functioning. You may be trying to stay connected to an elderly parent who lives in another state through video chats, right? I mean, all of this like connecting. I mean, all of this, like, what do I need to do to keep the train on the tracks? Like, what do I need to do? And no matter what your situation, you are definitely taking on more challenges. You are under more stress than ever before. And it's time to take in some of that oxygen for yourself. I mean, it's like, you know what? That should be, honestly, that should just be our thing. Like when you feel stressed, just to make yourself laugh, just do like this. Nobody else has to know what you're doing. But I have found that the oxygen for myself, figuratively and literally, by creating a space for myself every day to play, I call it recess. Recess, and I don't know if any of you all have seen it, but I do it on Instagram Live, and then I'll put it, if I don't forget, I'll put it on my feed and Instagram. But recess has really helped me stay energized, and it has helped me stay positive during this time. But there is a reason recess is only 10 minutes. I mean, quite simply, we cannot play all day. I mean, well, I would if I could, but I I seem to have to do other things. Like I would love puzzles and crafts. You all know I love crafts. But anyway, the world has gone sideways and upside down, and for many people, that has also meant that the stressors in life and the demands of life and work have gone up, right? I mean, we're like, sometimes I get through the week and I'm like, wow, how did I get through this week? You know, I feel like I'm doing a marathon, and people will ask me, do you ever want to compete again? I'm like, I'm competing every day, right? But you see it everywhere you look. The team producing this event, the teams that produce every event that I have been a part of since March, the television shows that I've been lucky enough to tape since March, all of those people have had to learn new skills. I mean, you have all had to learn new skills. Am I right? Right? Child, I've even had to become my own makeup artist. Don't look too closely at the makeup, but I've seen my fair share of makeup videos. I have become my own hairstylist. I even tried to trim my own hair. Okay, that was funny. I have a video. I have not released it, but at some point, maybe I will release that video. I have become my own lighting and camera person, my own sound person. And then when I'm doing a cooking demo, I am my own grocery shopping and prep team. I'm my own cleanup team. I mean, can we talk about being a team of one right now? But luckily, I have to say, I have such a supportive husband who has been there behind me, but it's a lot. And in that pivot, I'm telling you, people have taken on challenges with new technology. My mom on Zoom, have you had to talk somebody through Zoom, like an older person? They're like, can you see me? Can you, I don't see anybody. Can you see me? Can anybody see me? Right? Y'all know it is crazy. Or it's like this. They're looking at this, or you're looking at somebody like this, right? But anyway, connected with mom. I'm okay with that. I'm like, Mom, I got you. Even if I see the top of your head, I know you're okay and I hear your voice. But there are people have taken on new ways to deliver entertainment and messaging, and all the while working to do it safely. I see you all at the conference, and you're all spread out and doing it safely. And a lot of us are stuck in their own homes, with everything from spouses to children to barking dogs in the background. So we have to be realistic about recess. That's the point of what I'm saying. We have to be realistic. And that's why I've given myself those precious 10 minutes every single day. And I look forward to it because I know that it's my time to do whatever I want to do. It's my oxygen. No one can tell me what to do with my recess. Sometimes it's a bouncy ball. Sometimes it's a hula. Look, I have my hula hoop right here. Okay. Sometimes it's dancing. Sometimes it's the skip ball, right? But we also have to be creative about finding ways to cope that we can thread throughout the day. So the things that allow us to feel calm and centered, even in the midst of chaos. So maybe you like to knit. I like to knit, and I actually started a scarf about 5 years ago, but I'm going to get back to it. But I like to knit. Maybe you like to read science fiction, or take your dog on long walks, or listen to romance novels on Audible. Okay, I kind of snuck that one in because maybe that's just me. I don't know. It is my guilty pleasure, and I'm gonna say that out loud to you all right now. I never listened to romance novels as a kid, and now it's kind of like my thing. But anyway, I digress. So as a chef, I cook, and I know many of you all are thinking, girl, we're all chefs these days. I know those of you who bought yeast for the first time, so I couldn't find any. People were making banana bread and surprising themselves and doing so many amazing things in the kitchen. Which is why, and I bring all this up because it's why I want to share another one of my ways to center myself each and every day. If you haven't heard me say it before, I'll say it now. I believe that the best cooking is the cooking that is done with love. And I know that sounds so simple, but as a chef, I am driven by my desire to feed people and to feed them good food that will not just taste delicious, but will also help them feel cared for. All right. And I'm not going to lie, it's hard to cook with love when you're multitasking, refereeing arguments between kids or colleagues, trying to keep up with the daily news, right? Or when your boss sends you a quick text after 6 p.m. And you're looking at like, okay, can I pretend like I didn't see that? You know, right? Am I right? But as a chef, when I'm not cooking, I'm cooking. And my focus is on the food. And while that may not be achievable for you for the entirety of a recipe, my suggestion is that you use the time that is necessary to do prep work for a meal as a time to practice some mindfulness. Now, and this is what I mean by that. Now, prepping ingredients is not the sexy part of cooking, you know, which is why when you go to the grocery store, you'll see cut up onions and celery and butternut squash, and it's just not the sexy part. Everybody wants to have all that prep done in the bowls, and then where you just dump it in a pot and, you know, you start cooking and tasting, because I think people think that's the sexy part. So, I mean, it's not the part where, as you're tossing things into a pan and you're like, oh my gosh, that smells so good. Oh, what? Oh my God, that ginger in there, you know, you're tasting, you put a little something else in there. And then somebody comes into the kitchen like, oh, what's for dinner? See, people are responding to those aromas, but when you're prepping, nobody's coming in. I mean, it's scarce, right? Like nobody is around. It's like, where's everybody? Can I get somebody to shuck the corn? Can I get somebody to peel these onions and cut the onions? Nobody's around, right? But I'm going to tell you, prep work actually offers a great opportunity to focus on the present and the moment and the task at hand. So the monotony of chopping vegetables gives you a chance to tune everything else out. And then as you would, like, you're just tuning everything out as you would in a meditation, right? And so sometimes when people ask me, because you always see me when I'm up and I'm listening to music and I'm dancing, I'm like, hey, ho, right? But when people ask me what kind of music do I like to listen to in the kitchen, I actually don't. I don't listen to music. My husband loves to listen to music, but sometimes I just want to hear the food. I just want to hear the way the knife hits the cutting board. I want to hear the way the food sizzles in the pan. I want to hear the way that the water is running over as I wash my vegetables. I mean, it seems like such a simple thing. And sometimes when I'm doing that prep work, I like to pick a mantra. I have a few because I love a good mantra, and I repeat it as I chop to myself, okay? But when you're cooking with love, it's important to start with love, which is yourself. And I'm going to share some of those mantras with you, but I feel that when I am cooking for people, it is an honor. When you think about it, I mean, sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to cook. I don't want to cook. But then when I think about the food that I make is going into the bodies of the people that I love, and it's an honor. Like, they are ingesting my energy, right? And it's such a beautiful thing. And I think as a chef, and I know I'm probably like, oh, Carla, but I'm like, that is such an honor to cook for people. So here are some of the mantras that I've done that help center me. There is only one me, and I am the architect of my life. And then as I'm chopping, I say I'm chopping carrots, there is only one me, and I am the architect of my life. And so I begin to focus on that mantra instead of the task at hand. And the next thing I know, the carrots are done, right? So here's another one that I do. I accept and embrace my imperfections because I am proud and thankful of who I am. I accept and embrace my imperfections because I am proud and thankful of who I am. The other day, I was talking to somebody and she was asking me, like, what do you do when you are disappointed or there's some surprises and life takes a turn? And I said, you know what? The older I get, the more I think, wait a minute, the universe is putting this in my path and the universe is much smarter than I am. So that's my new mantra now. The universe is much smarter than I am. When I am sitting up there and I am mad and I am like, oh my gosh, why did I fall down? Why did I do this? Why did this happen to me? I'm just like, okay, the universe is much smarter than I am, because whatever I get out of that moment, it is a lesson that is going to take me to the next thing, and I'm going to be ready for it. I'm going to be ready for your universe, like boom, okay? Oh my gosh. But a few months ago, as I stood in my kitchen and I was chopping vegetables and practicing this mindfulness, and I was honestly struggling to cope with the events that had led to nationwide protests in support of the Black Lives Matter movement. And as a Black woman, there's no way there's just no way for the deaths of other Black Americans to not feel deeply personal to me. And the weight of the struggles felt by myself, people within my personal circle, and the larger community was just very heavy. And I was just feeling this, and I was anxious, and I was just like, what is going on? And part of that struggle for me is that I am inherently a joyful person. And for me, I have to tell you, the glass is perpetually half full. I mean, maybe even 3/4 full. Like my family will tell you, I will spend something and I'm like, well, maybe. I mean, you get it. That it goes back to the universe is smarter than I am. And I've always been like this as a little child. I just can't help but to see the light and the possibility wherever I look. I believe in joy, plain and simple. And I believe that we can find it if we open our hearts to it. But I'm not gonna lie, some days it's hard to find the joy. Child, finding joy feels like a scavenger hunt that you've been on for 2 weeks and you can't find anything. It's like that needle in a haystack. I'm not gonna tell you. And I know you all have felt this sometimes. I know you're probably shaking your heads, and I know how hard it is to climb out of that dark place back into the sunshine. So one day I decided to turn on Instagram Live and have recess. I had no plan, no concept, no idea of what I would do. I just needed to free myself from that darkness, get my blood flowing, and breathe in some oxygen. I have a team of just a few women who work with me, and they will tell you that there definitely wasn't a plan. They didn't even know that it was happening until it was. I was like, oh, by the way, I'm doing this thing. But what was so special was that it struck a chord with folks. And suddenly I was hearing from people all over, all different kinds of people saying, thank you, I needed that. I mean, what began as just a one-off, just something that I wanted to blow off some steam and get myself back on track, suddenly became my anchor to my day. The 10 minutes when I could just let loose and let my freak flag fly, like, what, hey. And I'm telling you, are there haters out there? Because on social media, are there haters out there? Yep, but I shrugged that off. Because one thing about learning to put yourself first is also learning to let go of needing to please everybody. All right, and I'm going to say that again because I feel like there are a lot of women, we hold into this thing that we have to please everybody. So learning to put yourself first is learning to let go of needing to please everybody. And I can't make everybody happy, but I can make myself happy. And if along the way I can inspire happiness in others, then I call it a win. Like, what? But the funny thing is about those 10 minutes each day is how refreshed my outlook in ways I couldn't have expected. They even opened up business opportunities that might have never existed before. My willingness to be my authentic self live on a social media platform, yet in a way that is also strangely private, since I usually am just alone in my house. You know, it allows me to be incredibly free. If I fail at hula hooping, or if I'm on the bouncy ball and I fall over, or if I'm trying to do something and I fall down, you know, I just keep going. Because so what if every moment isn't perfectly choreographed? So what? Because what I wanted to show people is that life isn't about choreography. It's about actually dancing, feeling, freeing, like whatever, like just go and feel the, I mean, and the other thing that I wanted to show people, I want you to see me fall. If I do a cooking demo and something gets burned, I'm like, or okay, maybe not burned, but I mean, I'm gonna try to do if something doesn't go the way that I planned, I'm okay with that because I want to show you that it's all about the recovery. Because life isn't perfect. And if I'm a professional and I'm in front of you and I make a mistake, then that means that when you make a mistake, that's okay too. We're all in this together. You have to learn how to improvise when you fall. So there's a famous quote about Fred Astaire, and he's considered to be, you all know, one of the greatest dancers of all time. And the quote goes, sure, he was great, but don't forget that Ginger Rogers did everything he did backwards and in high heels. Okay, oh, come on, right? So in the daily dance of being women, we understand exactly what that feels like, right? But today I'm saying, let's take off those high heels and let's move forward. We got this. We've got oxygen for ourselves, and we've got oxygen for each other, and we've got oxygen to share, right? Like outside of this, I'd like everyone right now, okay, to take a minute to think of a mantra for yourself. It can be anything. It can be as simple as I believe in myself, right? But make sure it's something that makes you feel empowered to live the life that you envision for yourself. All right, are you ready? On the count of 3, wherever you are right now, I'm going to say our mantras out loud. 1, 2, 3. I am power. Wow, oh my God. Oh, I can feel that energy. Seriously, I feel it down my arms. Did you feel it? Did you all feel that? It was really, really powerful. And we did that together. We are literally connected in this moment through the ethers and making things happen. I hope you'll do that every day and take a moment to speak your power out loud and move yourself forward, because you've got this. Now, before Q&A, I want to do a recess, okay? I'm just going to take 5 minutes for recess. And oh, I got to shake that out. I honestly, I feel like this, I feel like all of this, these tingles down my arm. All right, so I'm going to stand up. You don't have to stand up. I'm going to try to stand up. All right, you don't have to stand up. You can actually do this sitting down, all right? So, and this is gonna be a recess. I'm not gonna use my hula hoop because I'll knock over everything in the kitchen. So we're gonna just step to the side 2 times, and 1, and 2, and 1, and 2. If you're in a chair, you just do this, and 2, and 1, And to all, yes. And just make it crazy. Ow, make it crazy. Oh, so you can see me. Ow, get crazy. Ow, get crazy. Ow, this is recess. Ow. Ah, 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 ah. Woo! It feels like my recess when I'm doing it on Instagram and I'm here by myself and just, we started out. If you're in a chair and you want to do it, you're just like, hey, ha, ha, hey, ha, ha, woo, woo. Breathe it in, breathe it out. And breathe it in, and breathe it out. Breathe it in, and breathe it out. Yes, 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 yes. Ow! And punch it up, and punch it up, and punch it up, and punch it up. Hey, and punch it up, and punch it up. Double time, and and singles, yes. And singles, ha, hey, wake yourself up. Ah! Oh my gosh, I feel so energized. Oh my gosh. Okay. Whew. All right, we're gonna do Q&A now. I am completely out of breath. I hope you all have some great questions. I'm seeing them flow up. We can kind of take our time and do some questions, and we got plenty of time to do questions. Yes. All right, so bring it on. Chris, are you coming back?
I'm back. I'm here.
She's back.
We do have some questions, but before we get to the questions, Carla, and by the way, I just choked myself too because I was dancing and something went down the wrong pipe. So thank you very much for that, I will say. We wanted to share something with you because we know you have tons of fans all over the place. But we have kind of a super fan here in Northwest Ohio that we wanted to share her story with you. And this is just an excerpt of what we got. When I went off to college, I missed being able to cook in the kitchen with my mom and grandma. I was so homesick my freshman year, I would often sit in my room and watch TV. And when I found the TV show Top Chef, I became hooked. I felt like I was back in the kitchen with people I loved. And my favorite was Carla Hall. She was so bright and full of hope. She was always positive and able to take a challenge and rise above. She and Top Chef got me through that rough year of college. This year has been rough on everyone, but especially so for my husband and I. We've been trying to have a baby for a few years now. This June, I finally was pregnant. We were so excited, but at about 13 weeks pregnant, I miscarried. Because of COVID, I had to go through it alone. When I got home from the hospital, I turned to Top Chef just so I could cook with Carla again. Her infectious smile greeted me, and I got through it. Again, Carla inspired me. She inspired me to get off the couch and cook. I cooked roasted lamb chops, her creamy buttermilk mashed potatoes, and roasted carrots, all served with poured caramel cake for dessert. It was delicious and fed me in a way I never knew I needed. I have gotten through so much, and it has all been because I try to model my behavior off of one very special person who inspires me to be the best version of myself. Carla, this came in from Alicia Ziskowski, and we actually have Alicia on our call today, so we just wanted you.
Oh my God!
Hi!
Alicia, oh my God, what are you doing to me?
So this was actually like 2 weeks ago, and when they told me that like this person, I was just like over the moon with the fact that I even got to see you. So now that I'm like actually getting to say hi to you, I'm a little bit like, but yeah, so hi.
Hi, Alicia. That is so touching. I am so sorry for your loss, and the universe is smarter than we are. The universe has your back. That is so amazing. And I think the reason that it makes me so emotional is because I think Women for Women embodies this when we are there for each other and we don't even realize it. And so it means so much, which is why it's so important for me to just live my life so truthfully and so honestly. That thank you for that.
Yes, and thank you for just being such a true inspiration. Your positivity and everything always comes across from every show you ever do. And it's always just been how I've tried to be at work. And I know sometimes I'm probably like not the nicest when I'm crunching numbers as an accountant at my desk, but I do like—
Girl, I used to do that too. I get it.
Yeah, those numbers, I mean, they're rough, but I do always just try and live my life like Carla is how I say. So thank you so much for being an inspiration to so many people.
Oh, you're so welcome. And you know, I do biscuits with strangers, not that you're a stranger now. And I feel like we should plan a time to make biscuits together over Zoom. Would you like that?
Oh, I would love that.
That's so awesome.
Okay, we're gonna do that. We'll sort it out. I'll get Chris and Meg and everybody to get me your information, and we'll do that. And if anybody doesn't
Chris
do
and Meg are
biscuits
going to be
in your-
coming to your house, Alicia, by the way. Biscuits for Carla.
Okay, that's fine. I got a big enough kitchen. We could stay 6 feet apart.
That's amazing. It's a date. We're gonna do it. Okay.
Oh, I would love that so much.
All right. And then look, we may as well make chicken pot pie too, because it's a Top Chef thing, right?
Of course.
Oh my
My husband would love it.
Listen, thank you, Alicia, for sharing that story, because I think, you know, we all kind of consider Carla a friend, those of us who are Top Chef fans and the Chew fans and, you know, all the projects that you've done. We feel like we know you because you give so much of yourself, Carla. And I just wanted you to know that people are feeling that way. And when we heard Alicia's story, we just knew we needed to share it with you. So Alicia, thank you for sharing.
Yes, thank you again for everything.
Thank you.
We're coming for biscuits, girl. We're not. All right. Okay, now that everybody's in tears, we do have
Oh
some
my
questions.
God.
I know. We do have some questions from our audience, so we want to move on to some of those as well. One of them is, what do you feel is your most rewarding professional accomplishment, Carla, and why do you say so?
Oh, wow.
You've done so many different things.
I have, but you know what? Oh, wow. My biggest accomplishment. Professionally?
Professional accomplishment, yeah.
I think it has to be the Chew, and I'm going to tell you why. For 3 years, and nobody really knew this, it was so hard to get into the rhythm of the show and to be a host and to cook on television. I didn't know. It's a dance, and I'm watching Clinton and, well, primarily Michael and Mario do it easily because they had been doing it for 20 years. And it was so hard. And I remember the day when it felt like easy. I was stressed and I would go home crying. I'm telling you, so often that when I do a cooking demo and I'm like, wow, I paid the dues and I learned it and I didn't quit and I can do hard things. And that was the biggest accomplishment that I still use today.
Yeah, that whole timing, right, of doing things live. You've got an audience there. You're trying to give them a taste, and you're working with these other people. You're trying to talk and cook at the same time, which is not always the easiest thing to do as well. So just that kind of that choreography is so tough. And
yes, and you're doing it in 5 minutes. So when you're doing, you're cooking something in 5 minutes that takes like 40, then it's this whole dance. Like, how much do I say? And there was always so much in my head to say. And I would get tripped up on all of those thoughts because they would be coming in so fast. I'm like, no, just Carla, pick one. I'm like, but there are 10, pick one, you know?
The thing that I loved about that though is your co-hosts always embraced you, right? You had that enthusiasm and excitement, and they always embraced it no matter what was happening, which I loved. I hope that was real. It was really
It was
true.
real.
Yeah.
It was real. I love them so much. They had my back. And that was another thing. I think that it was inspirational because, and I don't know if this is trying to find or put lightning in a bottle. Every job that I have, I want that thing where it's camaraderie from every single person on the set, right? So that one special.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely a great chemistry there. So you did your job, and I know it's not easy. You make it look easy on TV, but I know that it's not behind the scenes. Here's another question for you. What was the turning point for you to come to such a comfortable place of being your true self? And I think this started from the moment America met you on Top Chef. You were just always you.
I mean, you're right. This may seem really weird. I prepared, well, you can't really prepare for Top Chef, and I was surprised that they had me on. I prepared spiritually. So I was seeing a spiritual counselor, and I was like, okay, I just need to fortify myself spiritually for this. So when I got there, and I was 44 years old, so don't forget that. I mean, I'm 44 next to 20-year-olds, right? So there was that, but there was a turning point at Top Chef, and it was Top Chef season 5. And I was like, thought I was gonna go home. And then I was like, wait, nobody has ever died here at the judges table, right? Not to be dramatic, but nobody's ever died here. Why am I so scared of going home? And then it was like, wait, it put everything into perspective, and I became comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? So that was the one thing, and that was the lesson that I took away. But before that, the first challenge, when I just thought that we were there, just all getting to know each other, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm here. Like, look at everybody, like, what? And I was chosen. I did all my apples. We had to do the brunoise of apples, and then I was like, oh my God. And I just like started skipping away. I was like, oh my God, this is so great. And people were looking at me like, really? Is that who she is? So it was, that was kind of tough. I was the oldest, but the biggest kid.
I would never have guessed you were 44 on that show, by the way. Just,
Yeah.
you have found the magic potion of the youth of spirit that just kind of flows out of your physical being too. So you carry that age so well.
Thank
Somebody
you.
is saying you deliver critiques with such grace on the various TV shows when you're judging. Please provide some insight on how to deliver feedback and criticism without having a negative label placed on you. And I think women especially have this burden placed on them when they're giving feedback or critique. It's tough.
It's tough, but there are two things that I think about. One, and somebody had told me this, don't have a conversation in your head that you don't know is true. So if you're having a conversation, they're going to think this, they're going to think this. Actually, I don't know that. All I have is what's in my head and my side of the fence. That's all I have. When I'm on a show and I'm giving feedback, I want those bakers or whomever I'm judging to be really great. I try to be constructive in my criticism, because if I don't tell them the truth with love, they can't move forward. They can't get better. So am I more invested in them getting better, or more invested in them feeling good about what I'm telling them? And that's it. So even if I'm telling somebody and it's a hard conversation, I think, am I going to stop their growth? I mean, look at it like this.
Yeah.
If you're in the 12th grade, I wanted to say second grade. If you're in the 12th grade and there's a test, right? And it's a hard test. Do you want your teacher to give you the test just so you can skirt by? Or do you want to give them a hard test so you can get into college?
Yeah.
That's the question, right? I want you to go to college,
Right.
or wherever their next step is.
And I think what you said there is so true, Carla. It's really about when you come at it from a place of love and you're a cheerleader for the person and you really want the best for them. If they know that and feel that in the conversation that you're having, then I think that that is the most important thing, because they know that you are looking out for their best interest, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we have another question. The biggest obstacle you have ever overcome, and how did you do it?
Ooh. I think it's the chew again.
Yeah.
So when I was at the Chew, I talk a lot about how I wanted to interview Gladys Knight, and I didn't get to interview her, and Michael interviewed her, and they made, this is early on, like season 1 or 2, I think season 1, and they had made smothered chicken, and I'm like, oh my God, Gladys freaking Knight comes here. She is from the South. She's gonna cook with Michael, and I'm not gonna cook with her. So I was so upset, and a bunch of things that happened leading up to that. So I called a meeting with the executives, and I said, I was so frustrated. I was ready to leave. You know, I thought I was gonna get fired. So I'm like, this is it. So I may as well just say what I have to say. So I said, if you didn't think that I would want to cook with Gladys Knight, being that she is from my generation and I'm a Black woman from the South, your report card is an F. If I didn't cook with her because there's something wrong with my interviewing skills and you didn't share me, you also get an F, because you should have told me. And I went through this whole thing, and I was so frustrated, and I started crying. The one thing that women do not want to do when you're talking to a boss, but I said, I'm going to get fired anyway. So I was just like, blah, blah, blah. And Gordon Elliott looked at me and he goes, all right, you ready to get to work? Frustration is the ability to do work. So that was the first thing, okay? Fast forward, I had wanted to always do a game. I wanted to be I wanted to host a game on the Chew. And I've been doing all of this work and all of this professional development. And I got to a point on one of the seasons, and it was the first season after I'd done all this work. And they said, Carla, you're gonna host the game. I was like, oh my gosh, I get to host the game. And I was
so excited. And but then after we went through the rehearsal, they said, oh, I'm sorry, it's supposed to be Clinton. I had no words, and I was sucker punched, and I wanted to I wanted to cry, but I had to keep going. And so so the challenge to me was to suck it up, check my feelings, and go through and not tell people what I was going through. 2 seasons later, that was season 3, 2 seasons later, last show of the season, season 5, they're like, Carla, you're gonna host the game. I hosted the game, and they're like, you did such a great job. After the game, I had these huge crocodile tears, because I was still remembering when I wasn't allowed to host that game, and when it was like the rug was pulled from under me. And they're like, what are the tears about? And I told them this whole story, and nobody knew that how much that was hurting me. And so often with women, we hold so much in our hearts and so much of our hurt, and we don't tell anybody. That obstacle made me push to be better. That obstacle had me going out. When you all see me going out and I'm doing all those field pieces, I was like, if you're not going to use me in the studio, then I'm going to go out and do all these other field pieces that all the other co-hosts are saying no to. And that's what made me better. Yeah.
So you have done a lot of kind of zigging and zagging, right? I'm going to be an accountant. No, I'm going to be a runway model. No, I'm going to be a chef. No, I'm going to be on TV, right? So you've had to transition between a lot of unsimilar careers in your career. And you've done all these really incredible things. But, you know, we talked with our last panel about change and how we navigate that change. And so what were your motivations kind of each time you made one of those big transitions in your life?
This may not be the sexy answer, but it is the truth.
and I've never been diagnosed. I probably have ADD, but my husband just, and I'm not being funny. I probably do, but fear was my biggest motivator. When I left accounting to go to Europe and I was modeling, I was afraid to be in that job and to be 40 and hate my job. I was afraid to honestly be like just so suppressed, my happiness to be so just suppressed and to lose myself. And a lot of times my change comes from a fear of something else. And what looks like, honestly, what looks like it's so brave on the outside, there's something else driving me on the inside. And that's the truth. It got easier for me because I did all of those things. You know, it got easier. When the chew ended, because I was like, I've changed jobs. I remembered, I said, I've changed jobs. I have created jobs for myself. I will be okay. I'll know in a year what I'm supposed to do. And I'm constantly looking out, like what opportunities are coming to me, and I say yes to them. And my mantra is say yes, adventure follows, then growth. Because if I say yes, then that either is one thing or one direction that I want to go in, or it's a direction that I don't want to go in. And that's also information too.
And what you said before about, you know, being in that uncomfortable situation, I mean, that is where our growth happens. That's where the magic happens for all of us, right? Is when we are not in our comfort zone. So putting ourselves in that position and then kind of embracing the uncomfortability of it is so important, because you know that you're going to get something really big out of it in the end.
Exactly.
So that's really important.
Mm-hmm.
Has there been a time when you felt as though you couldn't bring your whole self to work with you?
Yes.
And how did you navigate that?
You know, there's a saying. There were two times at work. I don't even know if I want to mention them. One was when we had to come to work, and our host, that whole thing had changed. Another was when we thought the election was going to go one way and it went another way, not to get political. And Clinton Kelly was saying something to me one day. He was like, wake up. And I thought he said fake up, like fake up. And so it became our thing, like fake up, and like fake it till you make it. Like we had to create energy in order, because the thing that we realized, if we were down as the hosts, we weren't uplifting the 150 people in the audience, right? We weren't inspiring them, and our show would just be crap. So I just had to fake up, and I just said that this is why I'm here. And it's not about me. It's kind of like when I judge things that I know I don't like, but it's not about my personal taste. It's about giving that baker or that cook or that chef the honor and dignity that they made something that I will eat, and I can still judge it based on what it should be, not what I feel that I personally want to eat. But it is tough.
That has to be so hard, because I look at some of those dishes and, you know, if they're using something like, I am not a fan of liver. My dad's favorite dish was liver and onions, right? Like I just can't. I've tried it as an adult. I'm an old lady now and I still can't eat liver.
Me too.
But I watch people judge those shows and eat it, and I'm just like, if somebody made me liver, they're out. I'm sending them home because I don't like it. I don't think I could even judge it. So that's
such a great example, because even though I don't like liver, the thing is, I know why I don't like a thing. And I'm saying to everybody, if you don't like something, you have to ask yourself, why don't you like it? Is it the metallic taste of liver? Is it that funk? Is it the texture? And I asked myself, was it cooked well? Was it overcooked? Is it complementary with other things? So if you know why you don't like it,
and I know as a chef how it should be prepared, then I can still judge it. And I can still eat it. I can still say it's complimentary, that's my job. Yeah.
I would tell Tom Colicchio to judge for me, and I just couldn't taste it. I just couldn't do it. I don't think so. I don't think I could do it. Okay. Before we sign off, and we just have a couple more minutes here, Carla, I want to hear about, am I correct? You have a new podcast?
Yes. So I have a new podcast. It's called Say Yes with Carla Hall. I've wanted to do a podcast for about 5 years, and finally the opportunity came for me to do it. And I thought I was going to do it on career changers. And so it took a minute for me to kind of find that organic sort of byline, like what I wanted it to be. And I started thinking about my time on Top Chef, my time, my challenging times on The Chew, and to talk to a lot of celebrities about when they became comfortable with being uncomfortable and they still pushed through, and what were the effects of that pushing through. So that's what the podcast is about. Kristen Bell was the first guest, and Glennon Doyle is going to be my second guest on the next week. And she wrote a book called Untamed. And I'm telling you, women, you have got to read this book. Oh my gosh. I can't even, I'm like going off the thing. It is so great. It's called Untamed. The first, even in the prologue, when she talks about the cheetah, y'all, we are cheetahs, and this place is trying to tame us, and we have got to get out and do our own thing. It is amazing. But anyway, so I just have some really great conversations. It's fun and quirky and empowering and happy, joyful. Yeah.
Can we get it now? Is the first episode available or not yet?
Yes, it is available on Spotify, podcast, the Wondery app. You can also listen where you get podcasts, so on Apple.
Awesome.
It's available.
All right. Well, Carla, listen, I know we're going to be cooking biscuits soon, so
Yes.
I'll be seeing you then. But we also want to, we so wanted you to come visit us in Toledo and see our community, and we would love to invite you next year when we have the Solheim Cup, which is the premier competition for women athletes here in Toledo. Please come visit us next year. We would love to have you here when we can all be together and hug.
I would love that. And let me work on my golf game. Okay, start on my golf game. So I have some work to do before I see you next year.
You don't have to be a golfer to love it. I'm not a golfer, and it's awesome. So just come. We'll eat.
No, I'm going to come, but I want to come with some skills. If I'm going to be, you know what I'm saying?
You got cooking skills, girl. That's all we need around here. Let's have a huge round of applause, please, for Carla Hall. Thank you for being here with us today. We have loved having you, and you've given us so many great pieces of information. I hope you can hear the wild applause.
I hear it, and I feel it in my heart. Thank you all so much. Say those mantras. You are the most important. Get your own oxygen first. All right. Bye.
Best of luck. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. end with just some mindfulness. We want to give you an opportunity to, as Carla said, and as G told us earlier today, and as Julianne told us, take a breath. Take a breath, ground yourself, and make sure that you are really just focusing and recentering yourself at this time. So we're going to turn it over again to G Morton, who is going to guide us in a virtual yoga class for the next few minutes. G?
Welcome back. Bring yourself to a comfortable seat. It could be on the floor or in a chair. If you're in a chair, just ground down through your feet. Make sure your feet touch the ground. And close your eyes. And just make the commitment to yourself to give yourself the space to tune into what's present in your body, to anchor into your breath, and to create more peace in your own experience. Take a full breath in through your nose, fill up your lungs, feel your belly expand. Open your mouth and sigh out, let it go. Again, take a breath in. Open your mouth, sigh out. And take one more breath in. Open your mouth, let it go. Now breathe in through your nose. Exhale through your nose. Take a few more breaths like that. Nice, easy breaths in and out through your nose. And start to let the thoughts fall off, the worry fade away, and just focus in on your breath. Inhale through your nose. Hold the breath. Exhale through your nose. Hold at the bottom. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Continue breathing in, holding at the top. Exhaling and holding at the bottom. Take 3 more rounds. Now take a big breath in. Exhale through your nose. And drop your chin to your chest. Bring your right ear to your right shoulder. Drop your head straight back. Left ear, left shoulder, chin to chest. Keep rolling. Right ear, right shoulder. Head straight back. Left ear, left shoulder, chin to chest. Roll out any kink, any tension. Keep with a steady inhale and exhale. Take one more round. When you come to center, switch direction. Take one more round. And come back to center, bring your chin parallel to the floor. Shrug your shoulders up to your ears. Take a full breath in. Exhale and roll your shoulders down your back. Again, shrug. Exhale, release. One more time, shrug, breathe in, breathe in. Exhale, shrug and release. Take your left hand to your right knee or the outside of your right thigh. Take a breath in, lengthen through the sides of your body, all the way to the crown of your head. Twist, look over your right shoulder. Take a few deep breaths. Inhale back to center. Bring your right hand to your left knee or thigh. Sit up tall, breathe in. Exhale, twist, look over your left shoulder. 2 more deep breaths. Come back to center. Interlace your palms, press your palms forward, then reach them to the ceiling. Look up to your fingers. Reach over to the right, still anchored into the mat with your sits bone. Come back through center and to the left. Come back to center, reach up a little higher, take another breath in. Take a gentle fold forward. Reach your fingertips forward, drop your forehead toward the mat or floor. Take a couple deep breaths. Press into your palms and come into a tabletop position. Stack your knees underneath your hips, wrists underneath your shoulders. We'll take a few rounds of cat-cows. On your inhale, drop your belly, set your gaze up to the ceiling. Exhale, arch your back, set your gaze to your belly button. And keep alternating. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Keep moving with your own breath, with your own rhythm. And allow the stretch to loosen all the muscles along the spine, through the neck. And start to even relax the jaw, the face, along the temples. Take a couple more rounds. Come back to neutral spine. Curl your toes under, press up to down dog. Start with a bend in both knees. Spread your fingertips wide. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, straighten your right leg. Inhale, bend both knees. Exhale, straighten your left. Keep alternating. Bend on the inhale. Straighten your right leg on the exhale. Inhale, bend both. Exhale, straighten the left leg. This time, inhale, bend your knees. As you exhale, press the center of both heels straight down. Take 3 deep breaths. 2 more. Big breath in. Big breath out. Look forward, bend your knees, step your feet to your hands. Bend your knees a whole lot, grab opposite elbows. Just let your torso hang out. After a lot of sitting and driving, let your spinal column decompress. Let the crown hang heavy. Take a gentle sway side to side. Drop your fingertips to the mat. Keep your right hand down, lift your left fingertips to the ceiling. Look up to your hands. A nice little open twist. And switch sides. Inhale your right hand to the ceiling. And lower. One more each side. Lift your left fingertips. Release. Reach your right fingertips to the ceiling, look up. And lower both. Heel toe your toes, your feet together. Take a breath in, lift all the way up. Reach your fingertips to the ceiling, let your gaze follow. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, bring your palms to your shins, look up. Exhale, plant your hands, come through the top of a push-up. Drop your knees, chest, chin. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, bring your seat to your heels. Reach your fingertips forward, child's pose. Take 5 deep breaths. Maybe you start to notice your body warming up, muscles relaxing. Take one more inhale. Exhale, downward dog. Look forward, bend your knees, step your feet to your hands. Halfway lift, breathe in, bring your palms to your shins. Fold, breathe out. Inhale, rise all the way up, look to your hand. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift, palms to shins. Plant your hands, step back. Top of a push-up. Drop your knees, chest, chin, slide forward, cobra, lift your chest, look up. Slide back, child's pose. Bring your knees wide, toes to touch. 3 breaths. Downward facing dog. Look forward, feet to hand step. Halfway lift. Fold, rise all the way up. This time, interlace your hands at your low back. Draw your shoulders down away from your ears. Look up. Breathe in, fill up your lungs. As you exhale, fold forward. Bend your knees a lot. Take a few deep breaths. A nice stretch to counteract the hunching forward. All the work at the computer, the work at the steering wheel. Allow your shoulders and your chest to open and relax. Take one more inhale. Exhale, release the bind. Drop your fingertips to the mat. Now breath in, halfway lift. Plant your hands, step back, top of a push-up. And we'll vinyasa. Drop knees, chest, chin. Cobra, inhale. Child's pose, exhale. Just one breath here, breathe in. Exhale, down dog. This time, lift your right leg to the ceiling. Flex your toes down towards your shins. And at the same time, press through the center of your left heel. Take a breath in. Exhale, step your right foot forward between your hands. Drop your back knee. Breathe in, reach your fingertips to the ceiling. Breathe in, lengthen the sides of the body, then take a little back bend. Reach behind you, look behind you. Come back to center. Reach your left hand forward, right hand behind you, a little gentle twist. Come back to center, take one more breath in. Exhale, plant your hands, step your knee back, drop your chest, chin, slide forward, cobra. Child's pose. Downward facing dog, now we're moving. 3-legged dog left side, lift your left leg, flex your toes down towards your shin. Step your left foot forward, low lunge, drop your back knee. Lift your fingertips to the ceiling, look up. Still with a deep nose-to-nose breath. Breathe in, go up, then take it back. Set your gaze behind you, even if it's just a little bit. And come back to center. Reach your right hand forward, left hand behind you. And don't be afraid to set your gaze a little farther than you think you can go. Come back to center, reach up. Exhale, plant your hands, step your knee back, drop your chest, chin. Inhale, cobra. Child's pose. Downward facing dog. Come back to your breath. Take 3 deep breaths. Look forward, bend your knees, step your feet forward, come down to your seat. And bring your right shin parallel to the top edge of your mat and bring your left leg parallel to the side edge of the mat. Square your chest, breathe in. And as you exhale, fold over your front shin. Maybe it's a little bit, maybe it's a lot. While you're here, relax the muscles in the glutes. Release any tension in your right hip. Inhale, lift your chest. Square your chest over your right knee, and on your exhale, fold. Just notice how a slight adjustment changes the stretch in your body. Lift your chest, sit up tall, bring your left leg wide, and bring your sole of your right foot to the inside of your left thigh. Take a breath in, reach your fingertips to the ceiling. Exhale, fold towards your left foot. You can grab your shin, calf, or your foot. Take a couple deep breaths. Lift yourself up, open your legs wide, fold forward. Couple breaths here. Flex your toes in towards your shins to protect your inner knee joint. And press yourself back up. Fold your left leg in, shin parallel to the top of the mat, and scoot your right leg behind you. Breathe in, lengthen through the torso. Exhale, fold forward. Few deep breaths. Lift your chest. Square your chest over your left knee. On your exhale, fold. Lift your chest, extend your right leg to the side. Bring your left foot to the inside of your right thigh, reach up. Fold over your right leg. Couple deep breaths. Lift your chest. Seated butterfly, bring the soles of your feet together. Take your hands, peel open the soles of your feet. Breathe in, sit up tall. You can stay just like this or fold forward with your exhale. 3 deep breaths. Lift your chest, walk your heels away from your seat as far as they'll go. Keep the soles of your feet together. Now this time on your exhale, fold. Just let everything go. Any tension you find in your body, let it go. Allow the lumbar spine to relax, to lengthen. Take a couple deep breaths. Lift your chest, roll down to your forearms, then all the way down to your back. Keep the butterfly legs, reclined butterfly. Place a hand on your heart and a hand on your belly. Just notice yourself right here, right now. Your heartbeat, your breath. And sense the community at large, the other women here right now practicing with you, with me, with us. Acknowledge yourself for showing up, for maybe trying on something new. And for being up to something more than just yourself, something greater through the community of women standing and moving for women. Bring your knees together, hug them into your chest. Give yourself a big hug, a lot of self-love, right? All the hugs that we're not getting, give it to yourself right here. And drop your knees to the right, bring your arms to the T, look over your left shoulder. Give yourself another hug, breathe in. Drop your knees to the left, take the twist, look over your right shoulder. One more hug, make it a good one, nice and juicy. And release, roll onto your side. And then sit yourself up to your seat. We'll end where we began, in a nice, easy seat. Take a few deep breaths. And know that you have access to any or all of this by just taking a moment to sit by yourself, with yourself, to get quiet, to get still, to move. Bring your hands to your heart. And with so much joy, love, and appreciation for being here with all of you, namaste. And if anybody was drawn to this or knows they need more, there should be a little card from Toledo Yoga, my home studio, that gives you access to 30 days of unlimited virtual yoga. Yeah.
That is an amazing gift. Thank you so much, G. I know all of you are out there just saying, oh, yes, namaste, right? It's a great way to end our Women's Summit today by doing something for yourself and just reminding yourself to breathe. We are so grateful that you joined us for the summit today. So sorry that we couldn't see all your beautiful faces in person, but we just are so, we can really feel it in this room. We were talking about it, all of the folks that are out there watching and being part of this. Thank you for being part of the 2020 Marathon LPGA Classic Women's Summit. Women for women. I'm not going to yell real loud because we want to keep it quiet in here after G just got us all settled. Thank you. We hope to see you at the Solheim Cup. We hope to see you at our marathon golf tournament as well. And thank you for what you're doing for our community. Reach out to each other. Keep on keeping on, ladies, right? One foot in front of the other. It's not always going to be perfect, but we have each other, and we're doing the very best we can. Just keep remembering that. And you are all awesome. We'll see you next year.